So this is something that I wanted to talk about, which is my trips to triage. So triage is where you go, well, I don't know what the formal definition of what triage is, but I know what I've been using it as. So triage is where you go, where you need to get like emergency advice from maternity specialists. For me, if you've been watching kind of my videos, then you'll know that I've had a really active baby from about week 18, like very active, very, very, very active all the time. In all the scans, he was very active from week 18. Defo noticed it, and defo started feeling it a lot more. It was week 24 and I woke up with a bad feeling. And I know that sounds really ominous and like odd, but I just woke up with a bad feeling. And for my baby, who's been very active this whole time, to be so quiet all day was really odd. So for me, when I'm looking online and it's saying like ways to make the baby wake up, that kind of stuff, I like drink cold water, eat something, jump around, do some shaking around, give it cold water. When I was trying these things, I even tried putting music on the bump. I tried a few different things and nothing was working. This is when I really started to get worried, because he's normally very active and it was all day he wasn't responsive to anything I was trying to wake him up. Like normally I'll eat something and he'll be like, oh my gosh, yes, food, party. But he was being quiet and not responsive or not doing anything, and that for me wasn't normal. And because I had that bad feeling when I woke up, something just wasn't sitting right with me. And when you read online, it says things like, oh, don't worry too much about baby's movements until week 28 when you're in trimester 3. But if you've gone from a really active baby to then no movement at all, and you've got that bad sinking feeling in your stomach, you don't want to be told you got to wait another month before anyone cares about it, because at that time, at the moment in time, you care about it. It's your pregnancy, you're going to care. I think once there is that significant decrease in activity, you really do notice it, and it does make you worry. And for me, reassurance is really important. So because I haven't had regular midwife appointments because of the pandemic, because there aren't really services available that I have access to now because of the pandemic, I felt very on my own and I didn't know how to deal with it. So I tried to call up the GP and said, look, I've tried all day, I've tried figuring out what is wrong, tried to wake him up, he ain't doing nothing. They're like, okay, well, we'll get someone to call you tomorrow. When it comes to babies and stuff like that, there's a short window of time for things, you know. It's not really something you want to be waiting and sleeping on the next night and stressing yourself out about. You want to be dealing with it then and there. And I get like it's not always possible, but if I'm saying I have concerns about my child's movement, like I need to see some energy, you know? So when I had this sinking feeling in my stomach and they're telling me wait till the next day, and any time the next day the doctor's going to call you from a blocked number, I'm just there like, that's just going to stress me out. Like I've spent pretty much all this day stressing out about it, trying what I can, and then you want me to wait longer. It's not really not working. So I went back to my maternity notes, and this is why I try and drill into people like, your maternity notes are so important, like keep them on you, use them. Hopefully your midwife has given you different numbers for hospitals, triage, all of that kind of stuff. So I called the triage number on there, and it's 24 hours, which is good because you can get support from someone no matter what time of day it is, which is great, especially if you're in my circumstances where you are a single mum or something like that, and it is just you dealing with your pregnancy. Just to know that you can call someone and you're going to get like valid, specific advice and stuff like that is really kind of beneficial to know. If you haven't already, get familiar with your maternity notes and your triage numbers and that kind of stuff. And if you ever are in doubt, definitely call them up and get advice. Like, I can't stress that enough. It's so worth it. I called up this triage number and I was like, this is what's happening, I'm not sure. And they were like, oh, how many weeks are you? I'm like, 24. And they're like, well, you don't need to really worry until week 28. But I understand that this is going to be making you very anxious, and I also understand that mothers do know their children the best. And it was just nice to know that even though she's saying like, yeah, after week 28 we'd be a bit more concerned about this, but because you are concerned, we want to reassure you. And especially in the public healthcare system, where not everyone has that attitude where they actually do want to help you. Like I've realised this a lot during my trips to the hospital and stuff like that. Not everyone in their job actually enjoys it or wants to help people. So when this woman's saying to me like, we definitely say come down and we'll do some tests and stuff like that just to reassure you, because we don't want you at home stressing about it when you have the option to come here. So I was glad that I was being heard and listened to and valued, which makes such a big difference. And because I'm a proponent in the understanding that if something feels off, like, get it checked out. Because I'm so strong on that there, like, if something's off, I need to get it checked out. For me, when this was happening, I'm just glad that the doctor or the midwife or whoever it was understood my concerns, let me feel valid, let them be valid, and did what she needed to do to reassure me and make sure that I was okay, you know? And just to know that, like, support, to have that peace of mind and be reassured that, like, everything's okay is so good than just stressing by yourself and hoping it's nothing. And if it was something, then you will regret the fact that you waited, you know? Like, there's so many, like, opportunity costs to all of these situations. But for me personally, if you're ever in that situation you don't know what to do, get the advice, call the number. If they say, would you like to come in, do it. If you can come in, go in. Just for that peace of mind for yourself, to know that everything's okay. Like, you know your body better than anyone, and as a first time mum, they should be really trying to reassure you. And that's how I felt. I felt really reassured after having this conversation with this midwife, and it was such a difference from when I spoke to the GP receptionist, and they didn't really seem to give a monkeys about anything, but the midwife was actually understanding and reassuring me and listened to my concerns, you know. So I drove all the way to the hospital, and I got my sister to come with me as well, because I was stressing about this, you know, and if something was wrong, I'd like some support, even though she wasn't allowed in, just to know that she was there, you know. So I got my sister to come with me, and on my way there, she had made this weird concoction, because my sister is a very strange person. Love you. She's a weird person, but she made this concoction, and it was like different hazelnut spreads, a white chocolate one, basically something that tastes like Kinder Bueno. She was making this into like a hot chocolate drink, and there was coffee in it, and I don't know, each to their own, we don't ask too many questions. But my sister made this concoction thing, and like I've said, I've tried water, I've tried food, I've tried chocolate, I've tried everything that would normally get some type of reaction out of my son, and at this point nothing had happened. And for it to be all day and not to feel nothing is off-putting. If that's the best way I can describe it. It's very off-putting. My sister had made this coffee concoction thing, and she said to me, do you want to try it? And I shit you not, I literally had like 2 tiny sips, like it was hot. So I, like, you know, like, that's it, that's all I had, 2 little sips. And once I got onto that hospital beds and I was waiting for them to come and check everything was okay, guess who decided he wanted to wake up? Yes, you decided you wanted to wake up. It was so bizarre to me that those 2 little sips of the concoction that my sister had made was the thing that woke him up. So what I've learned is coffee. If in doubt, coffee. He's going to want a little sip of coffee and he's going to be fine. So they did my blood pressure test, they did a urine test, and then a doctor came over with the Doppler to check his heartbeat. And I've only heard his heartbeat a few times at that point. I'd only heard it a few times, like really briefly in my ultrasound, because some of the women are a bit stush, they don't want to play your baby's heartbeat for you or let you record it, that kind of stuff. So I'd only really heard it a few times, and because I had been so stressed about something being wrong, because I'd been so stressed about something being wrong, to hear his heartbeat and hear how strong it sounded, how clear it sounded, that was really, really reassuring and put my mind at rest. And on top of that, that's when he started waking up from his auntie's coffee concoction thing. And it was just the longest at that time that I had heard his heartbeat, which was really, really reassuring for me to have that experience and know that everything was alright, and just kind of be listened to and feel heard, and not have my concerns ignored or brushed under the rug, and just kind of felt really supported. And in this kind of pandemic change of world kind of thing, this was a really big moment in my pregnancy, because I did feel really, really supported in that instance. So that was a breakdown of what happened when I went to triage the first time. That was because of reduced fetal movement, and everything ended up being fine. If you have any specific questions about what happened in it, then comment down below and let me know. But yeah, that was just a breakdown of how my trip to triage went.